everybody, welcome to another edition of Toddster's Magical Mystery Review. I'm your host Toddster, and today we're going to take a look at John Lennon's Walls and Bridges. Yes, came out October 4th, 1974 on Apple Records, and this was John's last album of original songs before he went into retirement a year later. But and this was during his last weekend, and it really shows on the album. So so around the time of Mind Games, when he put out Mind Games, he moved to LA with May Pang, and wasn't a good place for him and if you may remember the little incident at the Smothers Brothers show at the Troubadour, where he got kicked out and all that, and he realized he was in a very bad state, so he moved back to New York and made this album, and there's a lot of lost love and all throughout the songs, and so let's talk about them, shall we? So we start off with Going Down on Love. Yeah, it's a bit of a funky type song. Yeah, there's a lot of funk elements throughout this album as well, which and this song sets the tone for the album, as I said, about lost love and all that. Then we go into Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Yeah, this is the big hit single with Elton John helping out on piano and on harmony vocal. And John was so inspired by some random reverend which he caught on the TV, and he heard him quote him, whatever gets you through the night and all that. And he was like, oh, I better write it down before I forget. And of course, it was a big #1 hit, which Elton John believed it would be a #1 hit, and he sort of made a bet with John. If it does go to #1, John would appear on Elton's concert, in which he did. Madison Square Garden in Thanksgiving '74. And then we go into Old Dirt Road. Now this is a song John wrote with Harry Nilsson. John was producing Harry's Pussycats album. It sort of has like a country feel into the lyrics, and I'm just waiting for some country singer to cover that song, because it'd be perfect. But and then we go into What You Got. Now it's a bit of a funky screamer, and I guess that's about it about that song. And then Bless You, sort of a dreamy, jazzy samba type ballad, which sort of like a gratitude to Yoko, or is it? It's a great highlight of the album, and I love it. And then it goes into Scared. Yes, a very slow shuffle with wonderful guitar work from Jesse Ed Davis, and so like John's fear of being alone and aging and all that. But so that's the first side. So we flip over to the second side. Number 9 Dream. Yeah, this is another single from the album. So John said that he wrote this, while having dreamed up the song during the dream. And May Pang helps out with the whispering, John. And it sort of has a little innuendo, and and the lyric, the chorus, ow bawa kawa pusse pusse, instead of pussy pussy. But another great highlight as well. Then it goes into Surprise Surprise, Sweet Bird of Paradox. And John wrote this about May Pang, and doesn't really go anywhere to my ears. But then we go on to Steel and Glass, sort of like a sequel to How Do You Sleep, but this time John digs at Alan Klein. Yeah, and John sort of like realized, about Alan Klein's undercover work, and yeah, it's another good song, and then we go into an instrumental, Beef Jerky, which sort of like, to my ears, sort of like John's little response to Paul's Let Me Roll It, the guitar lick. And, but yet, the horns from Bobby Keys is amazing on that song. And then we go into Nobody Loves You When You're Down and Out. It's a ballad with which deals with depression and rejection, and and sort of like John's reply about the critical response to about the negativity of his recent work and all that. But yeah, and John sort of had like Sinatra in mind when he wrote that song. Then we finally end the album with Ya Ya. Now it's basically John on piano and his son Julian on the drums, and yeah, it's the old Lee Dorsey number, and yet John would make a proper version of this song on his next album, which we'll talk about in another time. Yeah, so that's the album. So yeah, it's yeah, what to say about this album? Well, John, as I said, may have been in a bad state while making this album, but he made a great album out of it. So yeah, and in my opinion, it's probably his best solo album. And I would give this 4.5 Johns out of 5. So yeah, Walls and Bridges by John Lennon. So my name is Toddster, and you just watched another magical mystery review, and I'll see you next time. Until then, toodaloo.